Welcome back, YouTube. Welcome back. Wagwan. What it do? Alright, so the topic for today is about AI. So I hope everybody doing well, taking good care of themselves. Happy New Year. I go by Lokahi on YouTube. So here on my channel we just talk about whatever floating on the internet, bro. You know what I mean? Whatever comes to me intuitively. Look at this as like a digital diary where I come and give my opinion on whatever is going on in the world or on the internet, whatever. I basically just talk about whatever I feel like talking about. So as I mentioned earlier, today we're gonna talk about AI because every time I see AI, it's always negative, man. It's always negative. It's always negative, bro. It's always some wigged, wicked shit. You feel me? So, when I found out this stuff, it kind of blew me, bro. It's like niggas really doing that, bro. But then at the same time, I'm not surprised because you know the type of degen stuff that's going on Earth as far as humans. You know what I mean? It don't really surprise me, but at the same time, it's just like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm over here using AI in a cool little practical way, and it's helping me do little nifty stuff. But then on the other side, you got niggas that's using it to unclothe niggas. You know what I mean? You got people using AI to manipulate motherfuckers to sell them shit that they don't need. You got people using AI to like create fake accounts on social medias and shit. Using AI to like try to imitate artists and shit. Like all that shit is lame as fuck. You know what I mean? All that shit is stupid. All that shit is dumb as fuck. I swear. It's just unfortunate, man, cause like that ain't how I be using it. But you know, you got some real waste man out there. You got some real yam head ass niggas that be doing some DJing ass shit for real. You know what I mean? It's always some heathenistic shit. It's always some trying to make some money, trying to feel some sense of pleasure. You know what I mean? By gooning and shit. That shit lame, bro. You know what I mean? So like, one thing I seen was some shit on Twitter. I forgot what the shit is called, bro. Cause I don't use none of that shit. I don't use Twitter. But every time I see some shit coming from Twitter, it's always some wig shit. You know what I mean? So y'all know Elon Musk, that nigga owns Twitter, right? That nigga owns Twitter. So yeah, it's called X. That's what it's called. I almost forgot. And don't nobody call it X though. It's called Twitter, bro. But it's called X for a reason, symbolically, because that shit is not it. You know what I mean? You're supposed to X that shit out your life. You don't need that shit. But Twitter has an AI that you can use just like ChatGPT, where you prompt it to do something and it'll do it for you. That includes creating images and shit. So, you know, the wasteland that Twitter is, the bottom barrel behavior that Twitter ensues. You got motherfuckers on there because Twitter, that's a space where you can see all the OF models just going crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's their spot. You know what I mean? They also be using Instagram, but like Twitter, on Twitter anything goes. So that's like Gooner Central, Gooner headquarters right there for real. Like on everything. So you got some lame ass niggas, bro, that's like using Grok to fucking alter pictures of underage children and asking for the AI to make them nude and shit. It's just like, when you a weirdo, you a creep. The most lowliest way you can be perceived in that way is to be messing with kids. You know what I'm saying? So when you on the internet, you trying to find ways to see naked children is psychotic, bro. Wild shit, wicked shit, bro, for real. Like, I cannot stand for the life of me like niggas who do stuff like that, bro. But that's Earth, man. You got shit like that, two extremes where you got people who got some sense, and then you got a whole bunch of motherfuckers, bro. An overwhelmingly amount of motherfuckers that the complete opposite of that. So another way AI is being used in a negative way is creating fake profiles. Whether it's like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you know what I mean? YouTube got fake accounts, fake bot accounts. You got whole AI channels. And I realized that like that's where this whole concept of the like dead internet theory, that's where that shit coming from, cause the internet just becoming a whole cesspool of fake shit. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing real on the internet. You know what I mean? And like nothing was ever real on the internet, you know what I'm saying? Cause like it's just copy paste of what's going on in real life, you know what I'm saying? So it's trying to imitate life, but you'll never get the same effect as live action shit. You know what I mean? Like live and direct, like right in front of niggas. You feel me? So, the thing I seen on Instagram is like people creating fake AI accounts of models, like, cause Instagram, that's the space for IG models and OF models. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what Instagram is. It's like soft porn, bro. You feel me? So, and this is how people head got fucked up about like, women wanting to get BBLs and shit is because they looking at bitches on Instagram. You know what I mean? Comparing themselves to them because they got millions of followers. When them like some of the most low tier women in existence, bro. Like no bullshit. So you got You got Instagram, bro, and they creating these accounts with these fake models. There was this account of like a dark skinned chick, a African chick, African model, and she was about as dark as my my shirt, like black. She's like black, night black, jet black, bro. You feel me? Like she looked like fucking. She looked like Anti-Smoke from Mortal Kombat. She looked like new Cybot. You feel me? So, you know, there's this account, this AI account, but people think it's real. They think it's a real person. You know what I mean? They ain't put pictures of like her with in the gym with fucking The Rock and shit. Like niggas think this shit was real, bro, but it fake as hell, bro. Cause like when on earth have you ever seen somebody so black that they literally just look like a shadow? like what the fuck, dude? You know what I'm saying? Like she looked like a shadow for like for real. Like she looked like a fucking shadow. That's the best way to compare this shit. Like she looked like a shadow with fucking pale eyes and shit. But yeah, like you got the fake account and you got people commenting on it and liking it and shit. Like, wow, this person's beautiful. You know what I mean? And then when people peep that it's like a fake account, they delete the comments. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the issue with this shit is like, you know, attention. That's how you make money nowadays, bro. It's by garnering people's attention. So you got these fake accounts that's you got these fake accounts that's like got these millions of followers. You know what I mean? Them like millions of people that can be manipulated, like that can be, you know, sold some shit. You feel me? And not only that, but this shit is also influencing people to look up to this fake ass shit. You know what I mean? So that's another way AI is being used in a negative way. And then you got the environmental effects these AI models, like, because they need data centers to run this shit. You know what I mean? Which means they need computers and storage places to run this shit, right? To process the information and all this shit. You know what I mean? All that shit takes energy, electricity. They gotta cool the systems because this shit is running 24/7. So they need to cool the systems off. So they need to use water. You know what I mean? That stuff irradiates the water. That shit contaminates the water. You know what I mean? And you know, whatever is living near these data centers is fucking up the environment, bro. You know what I mean? Another thing is really dependent on what this shit is powered by. So if it's powered by like fossil fuels, you know what I mean, that's creating emissions and it's creating a lot of that shit like very fast in a large way. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, in many ways, bro, AI is a very negative thing. Like it's not something to be writing home about. It's not something to be excited about for real. You know what I mean? But me, in my own little world, you know what I'm saying? I'm just using ChatGPT to create some random shit. You feel me? To compile information. This stuff is useful. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would assume how we should be using it right now. Is just for that. Like, we shouldn't be using it to create no art, no extra shit. You know what I'm saying? That requires like human creativity, bro. You know what I mean? So I didn't mention all these negative ways of using AI, so I'm gonna just mention the way that I've been using it. You feel me? So we in the new year, we supposedly in 2026, according to the Gregorian style calendar system, and you know, to any of my real niggas out there, you know what I'm saying? We know that in the past there was a different type of calendar. You know what I'm saying? The calendars were more lunar based. You feel me? And some calendars are a mix of both. Where you know when you have a lunar based calendar, it's tracking the cycles and phases of the moon, and it takes 28 days for that to happen, for the moon to cycle. And the seasons are tracked by the sun. So that's how you get the concept of a lunar solar calendar, or a lunisolar calendar. But since we in 2026, you know, this year just feels different, man. You know what I mean? Especially the insight I've been getting and receiving. Up from the end of 2025 till now. 2026 is supposed to be a much better year than previous. You feel me? So, you know, it's gonna be a different year. It's gonna be a monumental year. It's gonna be a redeeming year for a lot of us, for a majority of us. You know what I'm saying? If you're privileged, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because when I be hearing people's experiences of how their year went, for normal people, it was more than likely trash. You know what I mean? It's not undesirable. It's not really the best year of an individual's lifetime. But if you're more privileged, like you're famous and stuff, you have resources, you probably still had a relatively decent year. You know what I'm saying? But since it's a different year, since we moving different, you know what I mean? I figured I'd make myself a calendar that is more aligned with how I view the calendar system. The new year, January and all that shit, like that ain't the true new year, my nigga. It's not the true new year. That's not the real new year. You feel me? Why? Because it's in the middle of winter time. So, you know, the true new year doesn't happen until springtime. You know what I mean? Till the start of spring. That's when the true new year begins. You know what I'm saying? Why do I say that? Because, you know, the seasons match like how matches the temperament of what's going on Earth. You feel me? So when you think about winter, like right now we're still in winter, but apparently we in the new year, right? So like in wintertime, everything slows down because it get colder. You know what I mean? So things ain't as in motion. You know what I mean? You know, like the bears and stuff, like birds, they migrate to other parts of the world. But like, you know, in particular, like bears, they hibernate, they rest. You know what I'm saying? So like winter is like a period of rest, of rehabilitation, of reflection. This is what winter represents. So like when you think about a new year, you thinking about a new beginning, um a new um a new expression, a new explosion, a new birth of something new. You know what I'm saying? And that moment is definitely something that's expressive and bright. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't really match when we're in winter. You know what I'm saying? So like when you think about how we move, how the new year was starting in the springtime is like more aligned with the concept of a new year. You know what I'm saying? Transitioning into a new period. You know what I'm saying? Because it's happening in spring where things spring forth and activate. You feel me? It just makes more sense. You know what I mean? It just makes more sense. You know what I mean? Like I said, while in wintertime, you're supposed to be more still and you're supposed to rest and reflect on the year and what may happen in the next year. That's what this whole period of winter is supposed to be. So that's why I made myself a calendar using AI. You feel me? So the Gregorian calendar is an continuation of the Julian calendar, which is a Roman-based calendar, based off the rotation of the sun. And the thing about solar-based calendars is that there's huge gaps in the way these calendars operate. That's why it requires like a whole, like a leap year. You know what I mean? I never really understood why leap years existed until I started studying this. So like the Romans made the Julian calendar, and New Year's Day is a celebration, right? For the new year, the coming new year, right? So in Roman times, they celebrated the new year to a god named Janus. You know what I'm saying? And it's this two-faced god that's supposed to represent the past and the future. So it's supposed to represent a transitionary period from the previous year to the next. You know what I'm saying? But the weird thing they was doing during the celebration was sacrificing people to this god. You feel me? So like that's the whole origin of New Year's Day, is sacrificing actual people to a god, which is some lost shit. You feel me? So when you celebrate New Year's, that's what you celebrating. You celebrating that sacrifices made in honor of this god. You feel me? And on top of that, the calendar is just offset. It's off. You know what I mean? That's why you got leap years and stuff like that. You feel me? Because you need to rebalance things because shit is so off beat, off timing. You feel me? You know what I mean? According to the seasons. You feel me? You know what I mean? Because the seasons follow the sun. You know what I mean? But each month follows the moon. You feel me? And we live in a dualistic reality. So, negative, positive, like sun, moon, red, blue, black, white, like, you feel me? Male, female, like, there's always a counterpart to keep things in balance, bro. So, like, a calendar system that makes sense, bro, is one that's not only solar based but lunar based. You feel me? And that's how things were before the Julian calendar and all this other shit. You feel me? So like, as I was doing my research about the calendar systems and the different types of ones that they had throughout history, you know what I mean? As I was learning this stuff, I was just like, I was using ChatGPT as I was learning all this stuff, I was like, you know what? I might as well just make my own calendar for the new year. You feel me? So I use ChatGPT to help me make a calendar. Um, I wasn't planning on making a calendar, but as I was doing the research, you know what I mean? I just thought I might as well, since this is a new year, let's make, like I was saying. So I use ChatGPT to help me make a 13-month lunar solar based calendar. You know what I'm saying? And for me, this is an example of how AI is actually helpful. You know what I mean? And useful. You know what I mean? This is a positive way to use AI. So that's exactly what I did. I told ChatGPT, can you make me a calendar based off the moon cycles? You know what I mean? And when I asked it that, um, it gave me a calendar. It explained all the stuff to me, and the calendar was off because I didn't incorporate the sun. You know what I mean? So each year is tracked by the sun. You know what I mean? But each month is governed by the moon. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get a balanced calendar system. You feel me? I learned that like the previous civilizations or the ones who do it today, it's like China. Ethiopia has a 13-month calendar. You feel me? Ancient Kemet in Egypt, they were some of the first people who did it. I think Mesopotamia was also one of them. But these are just examples of civilizations that used to use this calendar system that made way more sense. Native Americans also use these type of calendar systems. You know what I mean? If you ever heard of the different names that they give the moon, they always give a new moon or a full moon a name like the super moon, strawberry moon, wolf moon, or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Everything about the months was tied to the moon, bro. You feel me? You know what I mean? So, in the solar based calendars, there's 12 months, but in the lunar based calendar, there's 13. You feel me? And all of this stuff is like revolve around the Zodiac. You feel me? Because this is how you tracking everything that's moving through the sky, through each sign. You feel me? The sun, the moon, and if you know anything about the Zodiac, there's a 13th sign, Ophiuchus, and usually, the number 13 is supposed to represent, um, I believe it's transformation, if I'm not mistaken. It's supposed to represent transformation. It's supposed to represent a transitionary period. You know what I mean? Which makes sense when you moving into the new year. You know what I mean? In the calendar that I created, you got leap days. You feel me? And ChatGPT basically gave me a different month, like different name for each month. It gave me some different names for days and shit too. I'm not going to use all that stuff specifically because I want to make my own like original calendar, but they pretty much gave me the rubric to make my own calendar, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm just doing this and I'm just like, this is so cool, bro. You feel me? And I'm just thinking about like how like nifty this shit is that we have this, bro. And then, like I said, like, I go on the internet and I found out all the negative shit that is being used for. And I'm just like, damn, bro. Like motherfuckers just gotta ruin everything, bro. Because they are fucking retarded. Because they are fucking dysfunctional. it just blows me, bro. I'm just like, damn. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Cause like I said, I used to play games where they had whole sentient races of artificial beings. You know what I mean? And you have to work alongside them. You had to make major decisions and shit. As far as like us going to war with these niggas or not, you feel me? And like I always worked with them, and the outcome was always um positive. It was always something that wasn't as negative as what it could have been. You feel me? So I'm just like, yo, like it's just hard for motherfuckers that have good intentions, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just find that shit unfortunate and sad, man. But shit, like this all I got for this video, man. I just want to talk about AI and the dejected ways of how, or the paradigms between, or the parallels between, you know, AI being used in a practical good way and it being used in the most degenerate ways. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? In the most vain ways. But that's all I got for y'all for today, man. If you like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. You know what I mean? Yeah, when I contemplate on the future of where this shit is headed, man, I just have no fucking idea, man. If I'm being quite honest, you feel me? I don't know. You know what I mean? But when you look at the shit on the internet, it just want to make you think it's gonna be something catastrophic and negative. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, to that, y'all, until next time.